Hello and welcome to another episode of the Top Dogs Podcast here on the Field of 68 Media Network. As you can tell, I am sitting here live in San Antonio from Smoke Sky Bar. We are about to set up to do our 3 hour long show on Thursday afternoon. But I had to get on because there has been some news on the transfer portal front for the UConn Huskies. The biggest of which was Silas Demery Jr. announcing today that he is committing to play for UConn next season. He is getting paid a lot of money to be able to do it, but I think it is something where it is worth it considering the current marketplace and what guys are kind of getting right now in the portal for a couple of different reasons. But not the least of which is he is a 6'5", 220-pound guard that has proven the ability to score off the bounce, to get in the paint, and to draw fouls. He can make threes. He can create for himself. He can create for others. He's a little bit turnover prone. So was Tristan Newton. He is not the most efficient scorer. Neither was Tristan Newton. And he is a guy that when you get down to the end of a clock is someone where you could put the ball in his hands and say, go make something happen. And whether that something is getting to the line, getting to the paint and kicking it out, scoring a bucket yourself, he is the guy that is capable of doing that. I don't think that on paper, in a vacuum, he is the best guard in the transfer portal right now. I think Donovan Dent's probably better than him. I think there are a couple other guys where if you were just ranking who is the best basketball player, you might have them above Silas. You know, I think it's an argument, right? But when you get to the top 5, to the top 10, all of that stuff is up for debate. But I think he's like a top 5-ish kind of a guy, not the number 1 kind of a guy. But when it comes to who is the perfect fit for what UConn wants to do offensively, for what they want to do defensively, for how they play, I think he is the absolute perfect fit. I don't think there is a better one. I think it's a similar comparison to when you're dealing with Bennett Sturts, who has committed to play at Iowa from Drake after playing at the Division II level. I don't think that he is necessarily the best basketball player in the portal. A lot of people have him rated above Silas. I probably would have him maybe a touch below. I don't know. But he is a guy that knows exactly what Ben McCollum wants. Ben McCollum knows exactly what he can provide. And those two are going to be the perfect fit together. And I do believe that when it comes to this portal stuff, the fit is something that we overlook way, 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 way too much. Way, 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 way too often. How many people had Cam Spencer as like one of the best guys in the portal? And he ended up being maybe the best guy out of the portal in his transfer class. And I don't know if necessarily he was that high in those rankings when they were put out. So the fit is something that is incredibly important. I think Silas fits really, really well, much better than Aiden Mahaney did. It's similar to me and not quite. Silas is a more proven commodity right now than Terrace Reed was when Terrace Reed committed to play for UConn, right? You saw the talent with Terrace and you knew what he was capable of doing, but he needed the opportunity to prove it. Silas, I think, has the talent, has the ability, but he already has kind of proven it a little bit. I don't have the stats in front of me. I didn't have a chance to be able to put them together between doing Final Four media availabilities and coming and getting set up for the show. But I think that he is similar in that vein where he has the ability to do that and he has the talent to be able to do that. And I expect him to have a really big season. So that's a great, great pickup and a great fit for what UConn is looking for out of the portal. So that's a big one. We've had some players enter the portal as well, right? We've seen Ahmad Noel enter the portal. We've seen Isaiah Abraham enter the portal. We've seen Aiden Mahaney into the portal. We've seen Yusuf Sangare into the portal. I don't think any of those are necessarily that surprising. When we're talking about who we thought was going to be staying with the program, who we thought was going to be leaving the program, I think all 4 of those names were ones that people kind of circled as good chance that they could end up being gone, right? Isaiah Abraham didn't really play. Aiden Mahaney was very clearly the wrong fit. Ahmad Noel struggled in his minutes, and then everyone kind of knows what else is going on the side there. And then Yusuf Sangari is a guy where great third big man would be a really good 5 in like the MAC kind of a level. And being able to allow him to go down to something like that, I think is probably the best decision for him as a player. The freshman coming in, so that's kind of where Silas is a great pickup. they've churned out some of the players that they've wanted to move along, right? That maybe aren't necessarily the right fit. Um, as things stand today, Jalen Stewart is coming back. We have not heard anything from Jaden Ross. We have not heard anything from Solo Ball. We have not heard anything from Terrace Reed. Let's break each of those three down. Jaden Ross is one where uh, I haven't heard definitively either direction with him. That is a situation where I think if Dan still believes that he is a guy that is capable of uh, being the level of player that they've expected, and you've heard them talk about him being a pro, and athletically he is. If they believe that he can take that next step this year, then I think it's someone that you keep around because you can get a good, talented, athletic wing that, in theory, is a 3-and-D guy at a relatively cheap number. What I mean by that is it's probably going to cost more NIL dollars to go and get someone that does the stuff Jaden Ross does out of the portal than it would be to keep Jaden Ross from entering the portal. The question is just whether or not he is okay with, once again, being like the ninth man. So that's part of that conversation there. Um, my gut says he's probably not coming back, but that's not me reporting anything. That's just kind of just purely speculation on my part. Terrace Reed. There's been lots of smoke that Terrace Reed was gone, right? There was lots of smoke during the season that he was a guy that was probably potentially going to be putting his name into the portal. And the vibes around that decision have kind of switched directions, right? And now the sentiment seems to be a lot of people expect him to be back. Um, my expectation is that he will be back this season. I don't think that anything is set in stone. I think this is still a something where it could end up being Terrace Reed decides that he wants to move on or find another place to go play because let's be honest, a guy that has his ability and his size is going to get a very large number out of the portal. And the question is, does UConn want to, or do they have the resources to be able to match what Terrace Reed will be able to get elsewhere? Like, let's just say, for example, another program comes in and says, Terrace, we're going to give you $2 million to be our starting center. Does UConn want to pay him $2 million? Does UConn want to get to 1.5? Can they get him closer to that number than the number that he was at last season for UConn, which was in the mid six figures? Is kind of what I've been told about that. So, um, I would, if I was advising the UConn coaching staff, uh, do whatever I could to make sure that we got Terrace back, because this is another situation where you've had a guy that's had a year to acclimate to the system. We've seen the highs that he can provide when he plays his best, and you are not going to find somebody that can do what he does at a lower number than what you're going to have to pay him to keep him from entering the portal. And I know that there are some questions about whether or not the toughness or the physicality is going to translate if he is someone that is good enough that fits what UConn wants to do. But I firmly believe it. I'm 100% on the bandwagon of get Terrace Reed back. I think that if he comes back, you're looking at a potential Big East Player of the Year. It's probably going to be Zuby Ejiofor that enters the season as the preseason Big East Player of the Year. But I don't think that Terrace is going to be that far behind. I think he is a guy that could realistically average 16-8 next season and be an absolute anchor in 26 minutes a game. So I hope that he comes back, and the vibes on that one have flipped in probably the last couple of weeks. So I would set the odds at 75-25. I think that Terrace comes back. It's a little bit more likely in my mind that Solo comes back, but I don't think that one's set in stone or done either. You know, the way that this stuff works. Yeah, fuck it. I'll just say it. After UConn lost to Florida in the second round of the tournament, so I got a text from somebody that was just kind of like, hey, we are looking at Solo Ball. I know you know UConn. Is he good enough for us? Right. And that was from a program that is, I would not say is better than UConn, but was more successful this past season. And that is one where I think that there was an expectation that he was going to be back. So that was a little bit of a curveball once that kind of happened. But again, all of this stuff ends up being a negotiation, right? And it's we have this offer. It's like any business, right? And it's the way the free agency works. And anyone that has had experience negotiating deals and using leverage will kind of understand how this goes. But it's less about what you want to do and more about what you can show you can get elsewhere, right? Like if Solo Ball can say, hey, look, I got this offer from this high major program that says I can get 1.5 from this person. Well, I mean, that's a lot of money. Can you get me closer to that number? You're offering me, and I'm just throwing numbers out. This is not specific to Solo Ball, but if UConn's number is at 1 million and he can get 1.5 elsewhere, then that's something where he can go back to and say, listen, I can get 1.5. That's $500,000. Dude, can you get me closer? Can you get me to like 1.2? Can you get me to 1.3? Can you say, hey, we can get you to 1.2 and, with this availability, whatever it is, like it all becomes a negotiation. And again, Solo's one where my expectation is that he is back, but it's still, I don't think that one's quite set in stone yet either. None of it's set in stone until pen is put to paper. And even if pen is put to paper, there's still ways that you can get around that. So time will tell. I would say I'm more confident that Solo is back than Terrace is back, but I'm if I had to predict a starting lineup for UConn next season, it would include Silas Demery, Solo Ball, Jalen Stewart, and Terrace Reed. The Alex situation is much more fluid right now. I don't think that one is going to necessarily get solved until after the draft process. Gun to head, I think that he's probably off to the NBA. I think that would be the right move for him. He's a pro. He's done everything that UConn could have possibly asked of him. And if he decides he wants to start pursuing an NBA professional career, I'm in. He's got my full support. He doesn't need it, but he has it. And I'm appreciative of everything that he did as a UConn Husky over the years. So if he's back, that's found money. That's found gold. That is an awesome addition if he does decide that he wants to give it one more go around in Stores, Connecticut. In terms of what else is going to get added, Braylon Mullins is going to be in the rotation. Darius Adams is going to be in the rotation. Johnny Furphy is going to be in the rotation. And Eric Ryba is going to be in the rotation. My gut says UConn will be looking for another point guard, someone that can be a backup. There are a couple names that I've heard, nothing I'm necessarily comfortable enough putting into the ether at this point, but a couple names that are intriguing that should make sense. I think they need another big athletic wing. That would be and that could end up being Jaden Ross if he ends up coming back. I think they need a combo forward that is just, someone that can do what Alex Caravan does, the 3-4 spot, the big combo forward. And then I think that they probably would want another backup big for security. Eric Ryba has not necessarily been blowing doors open over the course of the last year or so. Didn't have the greatest McDonald's situation. So I still think that there's a player there with Eric Ryba, but I would not be surprised if the staff decided we're going to try to find competition for him in the backup 5 role. So that's what I got. That's it. That's kind of the sense that I'm getting from conversations here at the Final Four. But the biggest news is Silas Demery, man. The combination of Silas Demery, potentially Solo Ball, potentially Terrace Reed, and Jalen Stewart is a really, really good core that I think, with the right pieces added around them, in addition to the freshmen coming in, will be good enough to rival St. John's at the top of the Big East again this season. I will probably have UConn somewhere in the preseason top 10. Louisville's going to be ridiculous. Purdue's going to be ridiculous. They're probably the preseason top 2 right now. It's stupid to have this conversation with how much turnover there is on the rosters, but I think that the staff identifying Silas and going and getting that done was a really, really big deal. So that's what I got. This has been Top Dogs. Tune in 4:00 today. Come watch Field of 68 live from the Final Four. College basketball fans, are you ready to take your hoops game to a new level? Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just trying to win your March Madness office pool, Rhythm is here to give you the edge this season. With data-driven predictions for every single college basketball game left on the schedule, Rhythm helps you maximize your bets. And as March Madness kicks off, Rhythm's insights will help you spot those plucky Cinderellas that you know are going to shake up the NCAA tournament. But that's not all. When Selection Sunday rolls around, let Rhythm's AI-powered bracket generator do the heavy lifting for you. This is the same AI tool that performed 35% better than the average ESPN bracket last year. And here's the best part. Rhythm pairs perfectly with our Field of 68 expert analysis, giving you the 1-2 punch that you need for the rest of the college basketball season. So don't wait. Download Rhythm today and get ready to see college basketball and your betting results in a whole new light. If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers of the Field of 68. Bet insurance tokens, odds boosts, and what I love, a nice parlay boost or two here or there. Be sure to keep your eye out in the app for the Field of 68 specials that we'll be running throughout the season as well. So go download the BetMGM app to sign up today. As teams are fighting to get off the bubble and into the Field of 68, I got a beverage for you that's been off the bubble since day one. Dad Water. No bubbles, no fizz, just a smooth, refreshing canned cocktail unlike anything else on the market today. If you're tired of the same old beers and seltzers on game day, crack open something different. Dad Water is made with tequila, water, and natural flavors. Nothing artificial, no BS. It's 100 calories, 0 sugar, 0 carbs, gluten-free, so if you're on a diet like me, you're good to go. Dad Water is also an Indiana brand. College Hoops is in its DNA, and they want you to enjoy a great lineup of products all tournament long. Dad Water is the ultimate game time drink with no bubbles. It just drinks like water. Clean, smooth, refreshing, and without those burps. So take it from me. This is the easiest drinking adult beverage I've ever had. Dad Water is now available at Target, Total Wine and Liquor, and Meijer, as well as your favorite local liquor stores. Or you can order online at drinkdadwater.com. Dad Water, tequila, water, natural flavor. Now is your chance to prove you're smarter than the Field of 68. We're hosting a Survivor contest with our partner Splash Sports. There's a $25 entry fee, a 25 entry max in the contest, and more than 1,700 spots available, which means there's a $40,000 max prize for the winner. Survivor is the future of March Madness. Each day you pick a team to win. If they win, you advance. We'll also be running a free to enter bracket contest as well as a second chance Survivor in the Sweet 16. So prove you know more ball than the Field of 68 on Splash Sports. I want my home to feel like my home. So whether I'm looking for big furniture, just a small piece for my place, or maybe some storage solutions for the basement or the garage, the answer is Wayfair. Seriously, I needed a new patio set and fire pit for my backyard. I bought it on Wayfair. It looks great on our deck, and it gives me an excuse to fire up the smoker, invite some friends over, crack a couple beers. Just last week, I bought a new chair for my office, someplace comfortable to sit while the madness takes up the 4 screens in front of me. I got it on Wayfair, clicked a few buttons. A couple days later, it showed up at my front door. They even offered to help set it up for you. Digging through online stores can be intimidating. Trust me, I know. It can be hard to find what you're looking for in your price range, but not on Wayfair. They have great options, even if you are balling on a budget like me. Wayfair has every style for every home, including mine and yours. So head to wayfair.com and shop everything home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.